There we
Without
go.
a doubt.
Yeah, just
Sort of.
otherwise it just bounces off each other, that's
Yeah.
all.
No
So,
worries.
for the crowd watching, this is Mitch Iles, the up-and-coming superstar from Australia. Well, I say up-and-coming, he's already won no end, which we're going to get into shortly. But, Mitch, how old are you?
21. Just turned 21 in March, late March.
So he's only just turned 21. He's already been world champion twice, and also the youngest world champion in 2 events.
Yeah.
So Mitch is Universal Trench champion twice, but you won it outright while still a junior, along with the 2014, I think it was, 15 ZZ, 14 Helly's shoot.
Correct.
But quite interesting story to that, I've been told, that you were over there shooting a different shoot and just sort of rolled in, never really shot it before. You tell the story.
So what happened, we shot our Universal Trench selection here in Australia, and I qualified for the team to head over, which the World Champs were in Leonardo. And we had a look on the FitAsk website and that, and we seen that the World Helly's or ZZs was on not long after the UT. So we travelled over, myself, my grandfather and a couple of friends. And, we shot the UT, and then I didn't do too good. I went all right, but not too good. And then we went down to the ZZs, and I'd shot a few here in Australia before, not many, like just sort of a muck around at the club one day. And they sort of ran it a little bit differently to what I'd seen before in Italy. It was sort of hopper-fed machines and everything like that. So, I sort of just watched to see how we did it and what we had to do. And, I shot at practice for 2 days, like small competitions that they had, and got a little bit better each day. And, by the time the World Championships started, I went all right.
Yeah, and that ended up being... that must have been quite a... you went for the UT... It didn't go to plan, but you left Italy a world champion.
Yeah, that's right. It was a bit of a shock. Look, I didn't expect a lot going into the ZZs. Obviously, always do my best. But, when I got to it was a 2-day event. When I got to the second day and I was still in it, I thought, if I have a crack today, I might get there. And I shot the second day clean to make the shoot-off. And then, we went out in the shoot-off, and it was myself and 3 others, and... I think everyone took me a little bit easy at the start.
Yeah, I mean, Nicola Heron that's just commented here, she actually watched you in that event.
Yeah, she was there, I remember that.
She, so I've been doing that. I've spoke to your mum, I've spoke to Nicola, I've spoke to Russell Mark, I've spoke to Michael, trying to trying to dig up on you. Nicola said that straight away. She's like wandering past, I think, and saw you and was like, I'll stop and have a look. And she said that straight away she knew you were going to be something special for the future, and how many scalps you took that day. So we're going to roll the clock forward 2 years, and now we're into 2016.
Yep.
So you're still a junior at this time, and you go to the World Universal Trench Championships. Where were they that year?
They were in Morocco, in Marrakesh.
Okay, I've been to that shooting ground. So you rolled up there. You're still a junior, and you did something unthinkable. Yeah,
so I actually went to a competition here in Australia. I was still shooting it when the rest of the team left for Morocco. So I left a day earlier and got there. We sort of had delayed flights and stuff. So I ended up there with only like a day and a half's practice. I didn't get as much as I normally would. And I shot the practice quite well, and I was pretty confident. I actually I shot 100 straight in practice leading into the comp, and I thought this was pretty good. And I come out the next day. I think I was in the first wave of squads for the World Championship. The first 5 targets, I only hit 1 on my first barrel. So I thought, this isn't too good. And I sort of thought, I better work out what I'm doing. And then I shot the next one on my first, and where it broke, I thought, geez, I shot that a bit quick. So I put myself down, and then I ended up running the 75 straight that day. And come out the next morning, we had a bit of a trap breakdown in my squad. It was a bit of a stuff up after the first 6 or 7 targets. And, then I missed one straight after that, and I just wasn't concentrating, and I thought, okay, keep going, don't worry about it. And, I shot the rest in that round for 24, come out the next round, shot the 25, and last round for the day, I shot the first 24, and I thought to myself, 149, 150 is pretty good, before I'd shot the last one, and I ended up on a 148. I thought, so I had to sleep on it that night off a miss, and I think it was a 4-way tie for the championship with 50 to go. And
how many were you winning the juniors by?
Well, a junior actually come runner-up.
Really?
It was another Andre Trabucca from Italy.
Okay.
He was pushing me all the way.
He was pissed.
Yeah, he was, because I actually didn't find out till later on that he had actually come runner-up in the juniors the year before. And so then, obviously, he's gone out and shot what would have been an equal junior world record and still ended up coming second. So, on the last day I come out and shot the first 25 and, I tried not to look at the scoreboard. I didn't want to know what was going on. I thought, just shoot mine and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, you can't affect what they shoot, can you? You may as well put your concentration into what you can control.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I think while you're thinking about someone else, you're not doing your job. So
Agreed.
Yeah, so I then going out to the last round, I seen a couple of the guys that I knew were in it. They were actually shooting, I think, in the same squad, and I actually seen both of them miss before I walked out to shoot my round, and I thought,
pressure
don't think about it, just shoot mine. And I wasn't sure about one other guy, and I shot the 25, and when I shot the last target, I didn't actually know that I'd won. I thought, I'd be in a shoot-off here, and it wasn't until about 5 minutes after the round, so many people come to congratulate me that one of the guys on the team, Jeff Tonner, actually said to me, I think you've done it. I think you've done enough. I've had a look at the board and everyone's finished. You're one ahead. So at that moment, it was unbelievable feeling. That's what I'd gone there for. And as part of, I was only in the junior team, which is one of the best things about FitAct, that you can win even though you're in a junior, whereas the
they actually, with the FitAss, both myself and Richard, when we won the event, we won medals in the seniors, but then they banned it for a few years.
Yeah, I heard that.
They actually stopped the juniors and ladies winning medals in the men's, and then it's only probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago that they brought it back.
Yeah, lucky for me.
Hey, look, it's I think it's a difficult one, because if you shot 198 and the man shot 197, if I was the man that shot 197 and a junior shot 198 and he couldn't get the gold, I wouldn't want the gold either.
No, you wouldn't feel like you've earned it.
No, I'd be like...
Yeah, exactly right.
No, that wouldn't be for me. Look, I've got a lot of questions for you, and I want this interview to be about you, but we've got to touch on Grandad, dude.
Yep. What do you want to know?
We've got to spend... I just want to tell people who he is and what he's done. So...
Yep.
He was Grandad's Bell. He won the World DTL Championship in 1997.
Yep.
He's in the Australian Hall of Fame.
Correct.
He's got 29 national titles.
Yep.
But one of the most interesting stats that I found out today, that he went and actually beat Michael Diamond in a shoot-off that lasted nearly 3 days, 1,827 target shoot-off.
Yeah, that was the 1994 National Double Barrel in New Zealand.
And they went 1,827 targets.
Yeah, and I believe it was just down to the two of them at about 400. So they went about 1,400, just the two of them.
Really?
Yeah, yep.
So,
And I think there wasn't many people left on the ground watching when it finished. I think I'm not too sure. It was 5 years before I was born, but
that's a
yeah.
serious record, though.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen anyone else come close to it. So, yeah, and the targets now are a little bit softer than they were back then. So,
Yeah, that's incredible.
I could only imagine.
Tell me, what influence he's had on your career.
Oh, look, I've been lucky. I've lived with him virtually my whole life. Still do now. He's been my coach since I started. So, yeah, like I've travelled to the gun club with him even since before I started shooting. So, even though I probably didn't realise I was always learning stuff, so it's good because we've got a good understanding of one another. So it's quite easy for me to learn from him. We argue a little bit as most do, but yeah, it's always good. It's great to have him around, and especially as my grandfather as well. It's good.
When do you remember as your first time of beating Grandad?
Oh, my first ever event. The first event I ever shot in. I got my. I turned because 12 years old. We have to be here to shoot. And I turned 12 on the 25th of March in 2011, and our DDL nationals were starting, within a couple of days. And normally here you sort of got a bit of a waiting period before you get your license, and I would have missed out on the nationals. So my mum organised for me to get it with a bit of pulling strings here and there, so that I was still 11, but on the day I turned 12, I'd have my license already, and I'd be able to shoot. So we went up to an event in a little place called Euroa, and they had the state night handicap on, and we shoot handicap by distance. So obviously I'm up the very front as close as you can get, and pops as far back as you can get, and I shot a 48-50, and the lights there were terrible. And I remember I didn't think much of it. I was like, oh yeah, this is good. And then they called the shirt off, and they called me and my grandfather. And
oh, really?
He did. Yeah, and yeah, so we go out there and shoot off, and the shoot off only went a few targets. I remember I did not hit one on my first barrel. I hit every single one on the second barrel. Ended up winning, and a lot of people, they said to him, did you give him that event? Did you let him win that? And he said, no, he's got to earn his ones. And he said, this is the only state night title I've never won, so I don't think I'll give it to him. He still never won that one.
I know your mum's had a big influence in your career too.
Yeah, she has. Yeah, she's been there from the start as well. So
that's definitely how it works, dude. Mums are always there from the start.
Yeah, no, it's been good. I've had my family push me a long way. Yeah.
Yeah, she was very open with me this morning and messaging me and telling me your secrets. So I appreciate her as well. So moving on from Grandad, congratulations to him. I just thought he was definitely worth a mention. That you're following in big footsteps.
Yeah.
So we did the Universal Trench. You became world champion. Then we turned to Olympic Trench.
Yep.
Then we get our focus going down there. We're going to come to the Olympic Games in a minute.
Yep.
You've been fifth at the Commonwealth Games.
Correct. Yep.
In Olympic Trench. So we already found our feet and knew that we could compete amongst the best. Which Com Games did you come fifth at?
Gold Coast, 2018.
So if you come fifth, you must have made the final.
Yeah, made the final. I shot off with Aaron Heading and Ed Ling as well in the. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. Aaron Heading and Ed Ling for bib number, where they actually beat me in the bib number shoot off. But yeah, got in the final, and I started off all right, but then fell in a bit of a hole, and it was just at the wrong time.
But a great experience.
Yeah, it was. It was unbelievable, and especially in front of a home crowd as well. Yeah. It's not every day you get to shoot an event where you got an entire crowd cheering every target you hit. It's
that must have been pretty special.
Yeah, it was. It was really good.
So rolling it on, we head to Mexico for the shoot down there, and you and Penny Smith equal the world team record. Now, the most awkward question in the world: who missed?
Penny missed, but obviously only one target. It was I sort of stuffed the final up, so we got even with one another. But yeah, it was.
Well, 149,
it was
149, 150. You'd have took that before you pulled the trigger.
Yeah, 100%. If someone had said to us before we walked out, 149, we would have thought bib number one for sure. And little did we know there was going to be two other teams that shot 149 as well. So yeah, it's good. I think it's a record that'll stand for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, because there's so many variables, isn't there? There's the breaks in between shooting. There's so much.
Have to get two people that are on at the same time, like on the same day. It'll be a difficult record to break, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, the only way to beat it is with total perfection.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the only way to beat it. So we need to cross that one out. You've answered that. So we've had Michael on.
Yeah,
and we understand Michael's story. With the upsets in Michael's story, you end up in Rio.
Correct, yeah.
So Michael was completely open and honest with the crowd, so everybody knows the story. Tell us how you found out what the emotions were, and then talk us through the Olympics.
So what a lot of people don't know, we actually didn't really have a selection series for that Olympics. It was just done off benchmark scores and that sort of thing, like who the coach thought was fit to go and whatnot. And when I got a notification to say I wasn't going, and I actually appealed that. And a lot of people don't know that I ended up at the Court of Arbitration for Sport and all that, and I actually won my appeal. And then all that stuff happened with Michael, and it was just terrible. And and then I got a phone call to say that I was going, and I didn't really know how to feel at the time. I wasn't sure who wasn't going, because of the two that were selected, I wasn't quite sure who wasn't going.
Somebody wasn't going, yeah.
Yeah, and I honestly would have thought that Michael was going with me. I didn't think that Michael was going to be the one to miss out. I never would have thought that. And obviously going to the Olympics was an experience that not many people get to feel. And I didn't perform as well as I would have liked. I didn't have the lead up in the Olympics that most people would want, but it was a good experience to go to the Olympics and see all the other sports and
one thing that we've seen from all of the Olympians and Olympic champions that we've had on, I'm pretty safe in saying that nobody performed on their first one yet.
No, that's right. I'm not too sure of anyone that has.
No. I've spoke to Russell. We spoke to Vasily. We spoke to Aaron. Nobody hit the ground running on their first one. Like I'm never going to feel what it's like to be an Olympian. I'm in the wrong sport, so I can only assume. But I'd be pretty safe to say that whole scenario, the opening ceremony, is quite overwhelming.
Oh yeah, look, it was unbelievable. I only got to experience the closing ceremony. We had the trap, which was one of the first events on the first day, so the trap team didn't actually get to go to the opening ceremony. I think the skeet team and James in the double trap got to go. But all them sort of things, it's an experience that you never be able to get back, and you just get to enjoy it while you're in it. Yeah.
But it must make you stronger. It must make you stronger for the future.
For sure. Like the actual competition at the Olympics, it's a completely different sort of thing. The Commonwealth Games is the only thing that I could say is similar.
Yeah.
Going to the Olympics, I definitely learned how to cope with, all the cameras and the crowd and all that sort of thing, which I took into the Commonwealth Games, and I performed a hell of a lot better at the Commonwealth Games than I did at the Olympics. And we'll wait and see it. Well, not the next Olympics, but if the next Olympics even goes ahead. But
talk us through that. So you missed. I think you missed selection for Tokyo by one clay. Is it?
Yeah, correct. So we now for Tokyo 2020 we have a selection series, and how it works is you shoot 125 targets. Say you shoot 120, you get 120 points.
Yeah.
And if you qualify for the final, you get 1 point for finishing sixth, 2 for fifth, and so on. So it's if you shoot 120 and you win, you get 126 points.
Yeah.
And out of the 4 events we shoot in, you drop your lowest qualifying score. So you mightn't necessarily drop the event that you've got the least points in, because you could shoot 118 and win.
Yeah.
And shoot 119 and come 6th.
And you get less points.
And you get less points, but they're the ones that are going to count, because you drop the event with your lowest qualifying score. So, we dropped the lowest scoring event, and I ended up 1 point behind Tom Grice, who's taken the 2nd spot in the Olympic team.
But how does that make you feel? Does that give you the desire to go again?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Look, in this sport, you've got to learn to lose, and
100%. You do a lot more losing than winning.
Yeah, so obviously I'll just take it on to the next one and have a fair crack for the next one. There's 4 years between now and the next one, so
I've got to be honest. I still don't see Tokyo taking part. I really don't.
No, there's a lot of speculation and stuff about it, but I suppose all we can do is wait and see. But
you can't have the world's biggest showcase with no crowd. That's just don't.
No. An interesting thing though, when it all came out, I know that there was a deal made with the Japanese that 90% of the tickets were actually going to go to Japanese nationals.
Yeah.
So the crowd might still be pretty big, but obviously it'll only be Japanese.
Yeah.
That's providing it goes ahead.
If it goes ahead. No.
Yeah.
Look, Australia have bred the greatest Olympic trap athlete of all time in Michael Diamond.
Yep.
Everybody I've spoke to so far says Mitch Iles is the next.
I'd like to think so.
Does Mitch Iles feel any pressure of filling those shoes? Or do you just look up to him, admire him, but here I come?
Look, I admire Michael. He's done what nobody else has. The only person that's close to him is Giovanni Pagliello from Italy. And, I'm never going to say I'm going to be the next Michael Diamond. I want to be me. I'll just, do the best I can. So far, so good. But, over time, I'd like to, live up to what Michael has.
Excellent, dude. I think from everybody I'm speaking to, one thing about rumours in shooting, they're either complete bullshit or they're totally true. There's nothing in the middle. They're either complete nonsense or they're true. So I'm going to roll with that. Yours is truth on the results, and I certainly wish you all the best. That all of those aspirations come true for you. I hear there's an interesting story on how you got your SC3.
Yeah, so when I started shooting, I started using I started with a Browning Ultra Trap, a Japanese trap gun.
Yep.
And then I went on to a Beretta 680, and my grandfather, he shot a Parazzi SC3, and he'd not long had it before I started shooting. And I was 12 years old, and I had my dirty old gun, and I always said, I love that gun, it's a nice gun. And he said to me, well, if you can win a national title overall in just DDL I was shooting at the time, he said, you can have it if you win one before you turn 15. And I thought, geez, this is a big ask. And, obviously, I ended up getting a Parazzi of my own, which, I was using at the time, and I went to a couple of nationals and that, and 2 weeks before I turned 15, the nationals were on, and it was in New Zealand. Actually, it was a lead up to the World Championships. There was about 800 shooters there, and I won the national single barrel event. And at the time, I wasn't even thinking about about the gun. And then it wasn't until I was packing the gun up in the back of the car, and I turned around and I looked at Pop and I picked up a handful of rocks, and I said, "Here you are." And he said, "What are they for?" I said, "Well, they're for you to use tomorrow. You don't have a gun anymore." And yeah, that's how I got the SC3.
Excellent, superb. Again, it's good of him to uphold it and follow it through.
Yeah, that's right.
Also, during your career, obviously, your international career and your success started very young. So I'm going to roll on the side of caution that you've had to make a lot of stock changes to stay with your growth.
Yeah, like I think I'll say I started shooting my Parazzi that I shoot with now in 2012, and I think between then and now, I think I've had about 17 stocks. 17 or 18 stocks. I think the longest I've lasted with one is about 7 months or 8 months.
What's the shortest?
I think I had one that was right on 13 inches. And yeah, I shoot one now that's just shy of 15.
So you do 2 inch spurt. That's that's equates to feet in height. Why we're on the subject of equipment, mate? Everybody wants to know. Talk us through what's in your kit bag.
In my gun, for example.
Yeah, gun, cartridge, glasses, hearing.
I shoot a. Well, I've just actually got my new gun now. It's a Hi-Tech 3, the 3-position adjustable rib, choke bottom barrel. I shoot Briley chokes.
What choke do you shoot? What choke do you shoot at Bunker Olympic?
Full and full.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I shoot full and full. Yep. I've been taught from a very young age from my grandfather there's no substitute for choke. So
get as much in there as you can.
Got to learn to be accurate. And the thing always was for me to learn with full and full, and then once I become accurate, then change to 3/4 or something like that and give myself a bit of leeway. But I've ended up with a lot of confidence in a full choke, and that's what I've stuck with. But yeah, I shoot a 30-inch high rib, just a medium rib.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wear pillar glasses, and I shoot for an ammunition company called Falcon, which are out of New Zealand.
Okay.
And when I'm overseas, I shoot mainly Fiocchi or Cleaver ammunition.
Yeah, good shells, all of those. I've seen the Falcon ammunition before. So yeah, it's interesting that you roll with the full and full. Obviously, I'm just going to keep relating to Michael because he was telling me he's like open chokes, like
he shoots about 1/4 in his bottom barrel.
An 8.
And yeah. No, look, I can't say I ever tried shooting a 1/4 choke in trap, and I don't really plan to. I'm too scared to even use a half choke. So yeah, I'll stick with the full.
2 questions in 1 question. So far in your short but excellent career, what is your most memorable moment and what is your lowest moment?
I'd say winning the World Universal Trench was probably my most memorable.
Yep.
I'd just come home from the Olympics only 2 weeks before that and didn't have the Olympics that I wanted to have, and obviously, there's always those people that are a bit negative and stuff like that about them. When you have a bad performance, and going to Morocco, I wanted nothing more but to prove everybody wrong. And to win that event, it felt really good. And I'd say the lowest would be just recently missing out on the Tokyo Olympics. It hurt a lot. Yeah. But it is what it is. Like, that's the sport we're in.
Yeah, it's definitely. It's definitely a cutthroat sport. There's one target can mean you're on the highest of highs or the lowest of lows.
Exactly.
It's a knife edge. What's your single barrel like? What's your single barrel final like?
At the beginning, it was quite. My conversion rate to making the final and winning was pretty bad. Like, I used to make just about every domestic final and be lucky to finish in the top 3. That was in the first couple of years.
Yeah.
And as of late, I think I've won 7 or 8 of the last 10 finals I've been in.
Oh, nice. So the improvements come through.
Yeah, and I've shot a score not too long ago. I shot a 49.50 in a final, which I haven't heard of anyone else doing. So it's not too bad when I'm paying attention.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's 98% concentration is not good enough.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you've got to be.
Yeah.
You got to be firing on all cylinders. Same question I've asked all of the Olympians or Olympic ISSF shooters. Your dream 6-man squad?
Whilst all in their prime?
No, it can be anybody you want, mate. It could be your granddad. It could be. It's just your squad. What would be your squad?
I'd say my grandfather, Michael. I've enjoyed watching Giovanni Pagliello shoot.
Yeah.
I'd have to say James Willett.
Yep.
Who else? Probably Alberto Fernandez from Spain.
Yeah, I'm going to say he's next on the list. He's my next question.
Yeah, and Leo Harrison from the States.
I actually know Leo. I knew Leo before he passed.
Yeah, so
I know you were quite close to him, and you were there, I think, weren't you?
Yeah, we were staying with him when he passed. Yeah,
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, him and they were just him and Harlan Campbell.
Yeah, I was going to say Harlan, he should do an interview.
Yeah, they are. Them boys could break down the line targets for fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Just knock them out. Yep. Knock them out the park. Where are we going next with this? Yeah, Alberto Fernandez, right. How does he do it?
I don't know. It's definitely not a way I'd teach anyone to shoot. I think he's learnt to do it that way himself, and he's perfected it. But it's certainly not a way I'd teach somebody to shoot. But watching him, he's unbelievable. Yeah.
I mean, when I started these interviews, I start to research everybody. I go straight to YouTube. And I was actually researching Michael, I believe.
Yeah.
And I was watching the line, and then it was like, you know, you watch somebody shoot, I take my notes. You watch somebody shoot, I take my notes. And then it was like,
2 people have shot. Yeah.
What just happened?
Yeah.
And I was like, back then, I think it's a lot better now. But back then, because the cameramen didn't know, the whole thing just got completely out of sync because they're watching him and he's already fired.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've actually shot beside Alberto.
Oh, really?
I shot beside Alberto at the Qatar Open in 2016, and I was shooter 6 in the squad, and he was shooter 5. And I remember the first 4 shooters shot, and they were sort of moving along, and I stepped onto one. I hadn't even loaded my gun; it was my shot because I work off the timing of the squad, and I thought, "What's going on?" And I knew he was quick, but I didn't realise he was that quick. And I had to shoot an entire event beside him. And it's unbelievable.
How does that change what you do? So we all know the mental game, the pre-shot routine's important. You've got to stay in the game. So you step up to that tournament. You've got your timing. You understand your own body movements, and then you're just throwing a curveball like that. Like I am now next to this guy that's just going to change everything.
I was lucky enough in that squad that a guy named Valerio Grazzini from Italy was shooting before him, and he's virtually right on the limit of time. So I just sort of went off the timing of him. I just, when he was shooting, I got ready, and that way I was ready because I knew Alberto was only going to be a second or two.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's crazy to watch, but I can see how it could throw you out if you're following that. You know, if you're shooting a 4 and he's 5, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, definitely. Like in the trap, when you're shooting in the squad, it's a lot of it's timing, and you get used to it. So when something like that happens, your mind sort of goes a million places.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. How do you recover from that?
Yeah, like I've taught myself to be ready when I close the gun. Like when I close the gun, pay attention. So yeah, like even though that happened, and before I closed the gun, I was like, oh, he was a bit quick. Once I closed the gun, I sort of concentrate as best I can. So for me, that was what worked anyway.
So just for instance, you're on station 1.
Yep.
You call the bird, you take your shot. What do you do with your mind until it's your shot on station 2? Where does your mind go to?
I talk myself through the various targets on that station. I watch the targets before the round starts. They show the 15 traps, 3 to each, as you know. And I watch the 3 targets on each stand and do as best I can to remember at least the bad target that's on that stand.
Yep.
And I just talk myself what I'll do when I get that target. And yeah, like say I watch the program and station 2's got a screaming right-hander. When I get on to 2, I wouldn't say I favour the right-hander, but I pay attention for if that target comes out. I make sure I do not move till I see it.
Yep.
And that way, if I do get that off target, I'm not really worried about. I'm still smooth and right. Yeah.
So you're sort of occupying your mind in between shots. You're not letting it go vacant or.
No.
I read on one of your interviews that you like to use music. Is that true?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of music. I didn't actually know Michael listened to a bit of AC/DC and stuff like that as well. But yeah, that's usually what I'm listening to before a round or in the leading 15 minutes or so up to a round.
What then? You like that heavy shit too?
Yeah, I like AC/DC and stuff like that. Sort of get the blood pumping a bit.
I'm the opposite, dude. I go straight to smooth FM. Slower the better for me.
I can't say I've tried it. Maybe I'll have to try it.
I think it's just my age. You'll get there one day. Hydration, nutrition. How much attention do you pay to it?
Probably not as much as I should.
Yeah, but at 21 you'll get away with it. That's a fact.
I drink a lot more than I do eat. I struggle to eat when I'm shooting. I'm a bit of a nervous shooter. Like I'll actually, if something's quite important to me, I'll be virtually throwing up as I walk out onto the layout. So yeah, I don't pay enough attention to it.
Let's touch on that. So when I've had many shoot-offs for World Championships, and they'll call me for the World Championship, and I'm on my phone. Shoot. Okay, let's go do it. But then when I play rugby at the national stadium in the national final here, and I'm throwing up. Like the shooting I can do. The shooting I can do in my sleep. The rugby side of it, no, dude, that makes me nervous as hell. So. What do you think it is that brings on those anxiety sicknesses? Is it the want to win, the will to win, or is it a fear of losing? Which way do you go?
I think it's the want to win. I'm not scared of losing. I know that it's always going to happen, but I certainly don't walk out there to lose. And I think it's just the want to win, and it gets to me. And if I fixate on it too much, it probably would stuff me up, but I think I control it quite well. Like it's usually that first couple of targets.
Just get them out of the way.
Once I get them out of the way, away I go, and then the round finishes, and I'm all good until ready for the next round. Like once the next round's coming, same again.
I love things like that because some people need that. They need that adrenaline kick to. Just to switch on. Some people get scared of it, but I teach them, embrace it. That means it means something.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's going to happen if you want something enough. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely going to come through. What other sports did you play? I noticed on one of your profiles you played another sport. Aussie rules,
I played Aussie rules footy for a while when I was younger.
Aussie no rules. Yeah, that game's brutal, dude.
It's good.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, I love it. I love it.
You just got to pay attention. No, they're not scared of tackling you, and that if you got the ball, sometimes even without the ball. But,
that game was. Do you think this sort of thing interests me? Do you think having some kind of background and there's only one way to describe rugby and Australian rules football is that it is just organised violence. It's organised violence. That's all it is.
Yep. With a bit of leather in the middle of it.
Yeah, and that's just there That's just there to stop people going to court. You put a ball in it. You put a ball in it. That's all that happens. Do you think having that background that it gave you an extra side to your game and a mental toughness?
Look, I was quite young when I played footy, but obviously, when you've got opponents and that, you're always giving each other a bit of verbal stuff, and if you learn to not let any of that get to you, and I suppose you would take that into your shooting mentally it makes you stronger.
I agree, mate. I think it's helped me. It's helped me no end. Back to Mitch Iles, the shooter. So I diverse. I always like to talk about the violent sports. What's the goal for Mitch? What's the next 5 years look like?
Well, at the end of it all, I'd like to qualify for the next Olympics. Obviously, by then, I think hopefully I'll be even better than how I'm shooting now, and take my experience from my previous Olympics into that one and do as best I can. But between now and then, obviously World Cups and World Championships to win events like that it'd be great.
And that's what I've tried to get across to the audience that watch these, that like in sporting shooting, we have the World Championships and that's all we have.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. The World Cup finals, they're huge events for you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, if you win one of them events, you've practically beaten the world. Yeah,
and it's quite important to get that. That like, when we travel to the Spanish Grand Prix, it's more to get some nice food and some weather. With you, it's actually a serious event. Yeah, and especially for us guys traveling from way down here, it's always a big trip. Yeah.
So it would be great to win a World Cup. That's the ultimate goal, short term, and then leading on into the Olympics. And hopefully. Anything
in the back of your mind that still dabbles with Universal?
I still, if there's no like major ISSF comps on around the time that we're holding a major Universal event here, I'll go and shoot the Universal trench still.
When you became outright senior champion, did you try and defend the year after or not?
Let me think. No, I didn't. I didn't even shoot the selections. Actually, what did I do? It was something to do with Olympic trap. I think we had a World Cup on.
Right.
It may have been. I can't remember where it was, but it was selections for a World Cup team that I ended up shooting it, and didn't shoot the UT.
So that's all of my questions, dude. Look, I told you. You were worried about it. You've lasted an hour already.
Oh, I didn't even realise it'd been an hour.
Hello.
Hi.
Has anybody got any questions for Mitch that I can pass on? We can wrap up with questions from you guys. We've done that. No, I think we're good, mate. I think if anybody asks any questions in the meantime, is there anything you want to add? Is there anybody you want to thank? I'm going to put this on YouTube later on.
No, just my sponsors, Parazzi and Falcon. They're my two major sponsors. Briley Australia, and thank you.
No, man,
thanks for having me.
No, and look, people say thanks for having you. All I do is sit in my kitchen. You guys have to take the questions and come up with the answers. There's a question for you. Paul's asked that twice. How did you manage to get better with your first barrel for the finals? How did you train that? Because Paul's shoots para trap. What was the process?
I virtually never shot practice with one shell in the gun. I always shot double barrel. And the funny thing was, when I shot like double barrel rounds, a lot of the time, if I shot 25, I actually shot the whole lot on my first barrel.
You're just having the confidence that there was another one there.
And then I'd go out to the final, and for some reason in my mind, I never thought I was doing anything different. And I think just from hearing a lot of people say, people slow down when it's single barrel and people become deliberate and stuff like that, I without realising, I sped up, and I was always shooting faster when I was shooting single barrel. So I started practicing single barrel, and I always shot a light full choke, and then I decided I went to full and just let them run a bit further. And I just do as best I can to slow down and don't be worried about letting them go. But I definitely would say that the full choke's the way to go for finals. I would definitely say that the full choke's the way to go.
How far do you have to travel to train?
I've got 3 or 4 ranges within an hour here. So the closest one for me is about 25 minutes away, which is the Melbourne Gun Club, where the 2006 Com Games were held.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm out there. Obviously not at this point in time, but I'm out there 2 to 3 days a week most of the time, and just shooting single barrel really.
What? How many shells do you shoot a year when we're shooting normally?
Oh, geez, that's a tough one because I shoot a lot of DBL as well still. So, maybe 80,000.
Fuck me, it's a lot of shells, dude.
Yeah, maybe more. Probably would be more. Look, I'd have to ask Falcon, to be honest.
What? When you shoot your DTL, do you go up from 24 gram?
Yeah, I shoot a 28 gram, but again, my grandfather's always taught me not to use big, heavy shells, so I actually shoot a 28 gram shell that's only doing 1150 feet per second.
It doesn't matter when it's only going straight away from you.
Yeah, well, that's all right though. You've got to give them a bit of lead at times, especially when you're shooting handicap. But yeah, I shoot a shell that's only doing 1150 feet per second. Especially, in England, I don't think that you guys shoot double barrel events over there where it's just 2 shots count equally. I think it's all point score over there.
Correct.
So we've got a single barrel, double barrel, and point score, double rise, and handicap. So our double barrel events and our big national events and stuff like that, we could have shoot-offs that are sudden death that go for sometimes 3 days. So I think that the softer the shell, the better, because you got to last as long as you can, and the last thing you want is a shell beating the shit out of you.
Yeah. Well, Mitch, we're going to run out of time. That was absolutely amazing. Your insight, your personality came through, and obviously you're a well-rounded kid. So, look, I think we can all agree we haven't seen the best of you yet, and you've already set records. So, from me and all the viewers on here, we're going to follow your career. Good luck. I hope the Olympic dream comes through. In fact, I don't even hope it comes through. I think we already know you're going to go back to the Olympics, and hopefully one day we'll see you with a gold around your neck, dude. So thank you so much for coming on. Congratulations in what you've done, and good luck with what you're about to.
No worries. Thank you.
All right, man. You stay safe.